All right, welcome to another episode of Chasing Frets. My name is Jason Shadrick, and I'm here with Andy Ellis.
Hello, everyone.
And our final episode today with Nili Brosh is one. It can be a hard topic to discuss and dive into, but it's really necessary. And that is, how do we play without pain? Basically, how do we prevent injuries, both physically with our hands and audibly with our ears?
Mm-hmm. And Nili has had some experience with this and offers her insights into how to play guitar in a very physical setting. I mean, her progressive rock is a very physically demanding style of guitar. And we can all learn from that, regardless of what style of guitar we play. We are all subject to the weight of the instrument, our fingers and wrist joints, and our hearing. So we'll learn, all of us will learn a lot from this episode.
We want to wrap up this week with Nili. I want to encourage you to go check out her records, her YouTube channel. She just posted a really great cover. She said she finally got, as you heard the other day, she finally got around to learning Cliffs of Dover. And so she posted a video on her YouTube channel of that. And she also mentions a new virtual guitar camp that she's doing with Jennifer Batten and Gretchen Menn, who was on the podcast recently. So we'll put links to that down below as well. And again, we'll enjoy this final episode with Nili Brosh. All right, hey everybody, welcome back. We're here again with Nili and Andy, and today's topic we are going to talk, more about the health and wellness side of our playing in our profession, and that's kind of a way to prevent real serious injury.
Yeah. And Nili, I guess I've been playing guitar about 57 years now, and over the course of that time, I've seen many kinds of music come and go. I've seen many kind of attitudes towards health for guitarists. We're talking specifically, for how you keep your body and soul together to play for all your life, You're a lifer. I know it. Jason's a lifer. I'm a lifer. We're just doing this is for the rest of our life. Don't take my guitar away. But what a lot of people, I think, don't realize is that there are, ironically, dangers inherent to this thing that we love so dearly. We love guitar. And yet, if we're not careful, the very thing that we love can prevent us from doing the thing we love to do down the road. And, maybe some experiences or some ideas that you have about what it is. You play very technical music that's very demanding on your body, on your hands, on your wrists, on your joints. What do you do to keep it together so that you can do this 30 years from now?
Well, for me, it's been it's been an interesting journey because it's something that, at least in the way that I was brought up, it wasn't really addressed. It's not something that was addressed in music school, really, or I've had a few select people in the course of my life that, just happened to say one thing here or there that kind of opened my mind when it comes to how to position things so that you're not really hurting your hands and everything. And so I never really, and I'll get into that a little bit, but I never really had any wrist issues or anything like that. But unfortunately, I have done some gigs that did kind of injure me in ways that I wasn't really prepared for or really expecting. And you really start to understand what the wear and tear means when you're doing really, really large numbers of shows and wearing heels and all the other things that we talked about. So I actually, for me, the left shoulder gets beat up a lot. Everybody's left shoulder gets beat up a lot. Even if you're sitting down and never playing gigs and actually putting the weight of the guitar on the one shoulder, you're gonna have bad posture, because as I'm sitting here, it's if you're gonna be playing guitar, your shoulders are never gonna be exactly. You can't really. There's only so much you can sit up straight, So you really start to feel this shoulder after some years and hours and hours of sitting down and then doing gigs. And so for me, I've made some mistakes along the way, and some of them have been playing really heavy guitars. Some of that was not my decision, but you're forced to do that in a way, and you're like, okay, I'm signing up for this, but you don't always know the aftermath that it's gonna have on you, So I actually have some injuries, but what I've learned is a big part of it. I'm doing a lot of physical therapy, but a big part of it is really just staying fit as a person. Like I like sports, but I've never been like the super like upper body workout type of person. So for me, it was like all guitars kind of felt heavy to begin with. And even just the threshold of being stronger than your instrument kind of thing, like I feel the difference with that. If I do gigs now where I'm in good shape and I feel strong and everything, then yeah, it really hurts less. So, I mean, I do a lot of yoga now and stretching and things like that. And I have, specific PT exercises. But as far as the wrists go, there's only so much that you can do. But a lot of my playing, as much as can be that way, is kind of vertical in nature. Like, so if my fingers are diagonal and I get to wrap my thumb all the way around, then the position of the hand is really this, right? And so if you're playing chords or anything that you have to stretch where you can't have the thumb all the way up, then it turns your hand into the claw type of thing. And so this positioning ends up being like a lot more taxing on your hand and on your elbow and stuff over time. So I've started to have like a little bit more of those issues, but the more I can like just keep, the more stuff I can play from this position, the less turmoil it's gonna have on my forearm and stuff. But I've discovered this thing that's called a therapy ball, where it's just like a kind of a yoga tool that, like, I mean, for my neck and my injuries, it's like, it's already awesome. It's just like you're just kind of massaging it out. But you can do it with the forearm too. So if I have like some knots here from certain positioning and many hours or whatever, I literally just kind of like roll it out for a while. And you kind of have to like try not to beat it up too much, because you can really make yourself like super sore for the next day, because like it's just like it hurts so good, that you're just like, let me beat this up. but it helps.
And for people listening, it's like a tennis ball shaped ball that you just rub on. She's just rubbing it on her forearm.
Yeah, it's like a massage ball, and yeah, so you just kind of, however you can, obviously not like this, but yeah, however you can lay on it to put it where you need to massage. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's the little things, like stretching and just little things like this. And even, I mean, when I'm really injured, or when I was really injured, like we take it for granted or we think it's luxuries. But like for me, when I was doing like a really athletic gig like that too, it was like going to a jacuzzi or getting a massage or even like a sauna or something like that was like kind of part of like my regular self-care recovery stuff, because, I was really living like an athlete, and the aftermath of it kind of felt the same. So these are the, little things that are helping.
Are there certain stretches or maybe you might do before a particularly demanding gig? I know we talked about Death Clock earlier this week, and some of those rhythms, those downstroke rhythms, are real demanding. Like before you, whether it's a gig or a practice session for that kind of music, are there things you actually do on the guitar to not necessarily musically warm up, but physically warm up?
I haven't felt like I needed to with that, just because the way the riffs were laid out, there was nothing that there were a couple things that like went on so long that you felt like your endurance was running out or whatever, but I really work hard not to muscle through anything. So I never really feel fatigue from that type. So even on a gig like that, just having like the breaks between the songs and not every riff being as demanding or whatever, you kind of like shift between gears and have time to like recover. So I never feel like I have to like necessarily warm up for that. It's just more of the long-term being in shape for it. Because like, yeah, I couldn't do that gig today. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't pick up the C standard guitar and like do everything that I need to do with fast endurance, with all that endurance and everything. But if I plan the whole month before the gig, then you kind of get back into shape for it.
Are there certain pre-gig rituals you do on the guitar to help you loosen up?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the gig. So if there are things that are technically challenging, then I'll usually run through those things and I'll metronome them and I'll keep everything really really slow. I'll never get up to tempo. It's just for the muscle memory. It's just for the confidence building aspect where you're just like, okay, my hands really do know this. I can trust the muscle memory. I'm not gonna forget it because I'm overthinking, or really just to kind of get in the zone or stuff. But as much as my so much of what I play comes off as really technical, it's rare that something is like so technically challenging like 100% of the time that you don't get a break to recharge.
Do you write your music with that in mind, that there's an ebb and flow? I mean, maybe not even consciously, but are you, instead of going, go, do you, when you write your music, you know you're going to have passages of intensity and then pull back to groove? Is that conscious?
I don't know. I mean, not intentionally. If that's what comes out, then that's what comes out. But I really just try to go with like what the music is sort of telling me to do. You know what I mean? I really just try to serve the music in the particular situation. But tension and release happens in many different ways, so I'm sure it naturally works its way in there somehow.
There's another aspect of physical health that most people don't want to talk about, and that is hearing loss.
Yeah.
And I remember as a 20-year-old playing through 2 full 100-watt Marshall stacks, full bore.
The good old days.
I mean, at the time I had long hair, and it would blow my hair. We were just, and the bass player had 2 full Marshall stacks too. I mean, we were insane. But that was back in the day when you didn't have PA systems like you do today. So if you were to fill the hall, you had to be loud at the source, just like insane.
Right. Right.
And then I read a Pete Townsend article in Guitar Player magazine, and he was, the Who were, it was Live at Leeds time, and he was saying that he was starting to go deaf, and that was like, oh, whoa, better think about this, dude. And I endured a lot of crap from my bandmates for putting earplugs in and going forward. But now, as an old man, I can hear the difference between a vintage D28 and a new Collings. They're both beautiful, but I mean, I can still hear it. What do you do today in modern music, progressive music? It's loud, it's intense. What do you do in rehearsals and also on stage to be mindful of your hearing?
Well, so for me, it depends on the gig. So if I'm not wearing in-ears, then I'm definitely wearing earplugs. And if I'm wearing in-ears, then I really try to keep things at a volume that's not ridiculous to me. Also because, in-ears, they can be kind of isolating. So there's things that I like about them and things that I don't really like about them, because as much as you might get a nice mix sometimes, like you're on stage with people and I feel like in such a bubble, sometimes you want to really feel the room, but I've really only done like a few gigs of heavy music without earplugs, and it is so painful. Like it's so for me, it's physically painful after a while, but also like the few times that I've done it, I notice certain things. Like if it's a 2-hour show, then like hour 2 rolls around and you can't hear your intonation anymore. Like you're bending and you can't tell if it's in tune because all the sound is getting squashed. You're hearing all these like high-end frequencies just like ruining your hearing, and you're just like, ugh, it's just miserable for me. So as much as like, it can be restrictive in different ways to play with earplugs on stage, and it's a little less fun. Let's say it like that, right? But like, man, if the gig is long enough, it can be so much more painful to not wear them. And then that's just the short term. The long term is, of course, so much more detrimental. So we try not to go there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, Nili, thank you so much for hanging with us this week. And
thank you for having me. So much fun always.
I feel like we could go on for another 3 episodes. So make sure to check out Nili's. Are you working on a new album? What are you doing now, Nili?
So I'm working on a bunch of things. I do have a new single coming out in August.
Cool.
I don't want to say an exact release date yet because I don't want to then come back and say something else. But it will have a music video, and I'm writing more. I just joined a new band like right before COVID hit, and we're gonna make a really cool album. But till gigs are a thing again, I'm just here working on my stuff and putting out videos, doing the streams, and and I'm doing a really cool weekend summer guitar camp with Jennifer Batten, Gretchen Menn, and Vicky Genfen. It's Jennifer's thing. It's called the Guitar Cloud Symposium, and it's 4 days of us like instructing on 24 different subjects. We each have 6 subjects that we're teaching. We're doing like live Q&As and live hangs, and it's basically like trying to be one of the camps that we can't have in person, but doing it on Zoom. So that's from August 7th to the 10th. And I can't wait to like watch my girls' subjects, because they're each teaching like some really cool things that I'm like, wow, it's really interesting and diverse and so.
Cool. Well, make sure to follow Nili on all her various socials and hit her website for more information about that and everything she's doing. And thanks again, Nili, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.